In this video, I'm going to show you the Uber driver requirements and Lyft driver requirements to drive in Alabama. So I'm on the Uber site right now. Two things I'm going to mention right away. First off, it says drive or deliver with Uber in Huntsville. This is for Huntsville, but this is also true for Montgomery or pretty much every other city in Alabama. This is for the entire state of Alabama. Secondly, you do notice it says drive or deliver with Uber. When you sign up for Uber specifically, not only do you sign up as an Uber driver, but they automatically sign you up as an Uber Eats driver. Now, you don't have to drive or deliver for Uber Eats if you don't want to, but keep that in mind. I know some people who actually love being an Uber driver. I know other people who actually prefer being a delivery driver instead, and you can always go back and forth. You can pick and choose whichever one you want to do. So when it comes to these qualifications, I'm going to jump down here to drive, of course, being an Uber driver, but I will also mention some of the requirements to be an Uber Eats driver, because depending on who you are in your situation, you might actually qualify for Uber Eats more than Uber. The barrier to be an Uber Eats driver is like here. To be an Uber driver itself is higher. They're more strict about it. So in terms of qualifications to drive, I don't know why they don't put this here, but you need to be 21 years or older to be an Uber driver. And that's kind of unfortunate, I'm not gonna lie, because like say you're 20 years old, you're in college, you want a great side job between your classes to make money, you can't be an Uber driver, but you can be an Uber Eats driver. So I'll touch upon this back and forth a little bit. Going down here as well, you need proof of residency, you need an eligible 4-door vehicle. So if you have a 2-door vehicle in Alabama, you cannot drive for Uber. You need at least 1 year of licensed driving experience, proof of insurance if you plan to drive your own car. You can also rent one through Uber if you want, a driver photo, and submit a social security number to run a background check. Now I'm going to briefly touch upon the Uber Eats requirements, because actually you're like, shoot, Mark, I have a 2-door vehicle, or shoot, I'm actually under 21. Going up here, you can be an Uber Eats driver or deliver for Uber Eats with a car, scooter, or bike delivery. In addition, like say if you don't have a valid driver's license, of course, they don't even mention it here, but I think it should go without saying, you do need a driver's license to be an Uber driver. But with Uber Eats, if you're doing it on bike or a motorized scooter, you can use a state-issued ID. In addition, when it comes to the age, like I said earlier, like say you're in college, you have to be 18 years or older for bike delivery, 19 years or older for car or scooter delivery. So if let's say you are 19 years old and you're in college, you cannot be an Uber driver, but you can deliver for Uber Eats. Just something to keep in mind, I didn't want to mention it because like say if you're watching this video, I'm assuming, you're looking for a secondary job or you're just looking for a job in general, so you have a flexible schedule and make money however you want, whenever you want. Pretty much the best part of being an Uber driver and of course a Lyft driver as well. And for most people, almost everybody I'm going to say, most people will qualify for Uber Eats, but typically not for an Uber driver depending on your situation. Like I said, let's say you qualify for all of these, but you have a 2-door vehicle, you can be a delivery driver with a 2-door vehicle, but not an Uber driver itself. Just something to keep in mind. With that being said, now let's go to Lyft. And I want to say this, Lyft is way more descriptive about what you actually have to do. So even if you're like, hey Mark, I'm just going to drive for Uber, I suggest watching this because Uber for some reason, and I don't know why on their site, just kind of scrapes the surface. Lyft goes really in depth. So first off, to drive, of course, you can submit an application. You can do it online or basically in the Uber app itself on your smartphone. So going down here, I'm going to go to driver requirements and then go back up to vehicle requirements, right? So first off, you need a valid driver's license. Temporary or out-of-state licenses are also acceptable. You must be 25 years or older to drive. I don't know why, but in almost every area, Lyft, to be a Lyft driver, you have to be 25 years or older. When it comes to Uber, it's 21 years or older. So let's say if you're looking to be a rideshare driver in general, not just a delivery driver, and let's say you're 22, you can pretty much only drive for Uber. I don't know why, being honest, Lyft is so strict about that extra 4 years. I'm not exactly sure, but, something to keep in mind. You also have to pass a driver screening, which reviews your driving history and a criminal background check. So not only will they run a background check in general, but they will also review your driving history. So if you have a bunch of tickets, if you have a bunch of stuff on your record, again, something to keep in mind, right? And of course, you need a smartphone that can download and run the Lyft Driver app. I have seen people use like an iPad and stuff like that, but I'm assuming if you're watching this video and you're getting prepared and ready to be a rideshare driver, you already have a smartphone ready to go. Going up here now to the vehicle requirements, at least at the exact time of this video, 2010 or newer, 4 doors, 5 to 8 seats, including the drivers, not a taxi, stretch limousine, or non-express drive rental vehicle. Express drive is basically Lyft's rental program. So remember, if you don't have a car, or if your car doesn't qualify, you can rent a car through Uber or through Lyft, depending on which one you want to go through. On average, I'm going to say you can spend about $200 to $300 a week to rent a car if you don't have one, or if your car doesn't qualify in order to be a ride-share driver. In addition, it cannot be titled as salvage, non-repairable, rebuilt, or any other equivalent classification. Going down here, like I said, a couple of things I'm going to mention too. One, see if your car or vehicle, qualifies for premium ride types to earn more on each ride. So let's say if you have a car that's a bigger car, you could do Lyft XL or also Uber XL and you'll get more money. Secondly, like I said, you could rent a car through Express Drive, like I mentioned before. Rental vehicles must be rented through the Express Drive program to be approved for use on the Lyft platform. Now let's go to documents and what you have to do. Let's say you qualify and your car qualifies. This is where things get very specific. So first off, you need a driver profile photo. It's basically a selfie, right? Vehicle registration, personal vehicle insurance, and Alabama vehicle inspection. So your car does have to get inspected. Drivers in Alabama are required to have a vehicle inspection from an ASC or AATI licensed mechanic using the provided inspection form. So you print it out, bring it to them, and then have your vehicle inspected. You can upload the photo of the completed form in your Lyft Driver app, and you just do it within your documents section on the app. In addition, and this is kind of interesting, so I've done a lot of videos about the Uber driver requirements and Lyft driver requirements in different areas. And what's weird is some areas require some very odd things, other ones require different things, right? And this is always changing as well. It's crazy how the requirements to be a driver change place to place. I've never seen this, to be honest. So when it comes to Alabama, and maybe this is new, right? They're always changing their policies. You're going to get a virtual inspection, right? So basically, it seemed like it's like a FaceTime or Zoom call you could see that you're going to have an inspection time. You need to be outside your vehicle, and you need to have a friend, a penny. I feel like this sounds like a riddle. A friend, a penny, your keys, your vehicle, and your VIN. So going down here, you can have the Zoom app, so it's done via Zoom. You can download it or create an account, etc., etc. Have the seat belts buckled, headlights and hazard lights on, turn off Bluetooth, a mobile device charged at least 20% or more. So basically, just make sure it doesn't die, with good signal strength or Wi-Fi connection. A penny to measure the tread on your tires, and then a friend because your virtual appointment includes a brake light inspection. So you need a friend or a way to prop up your phone to see the lights. I feel like if like say you don't have anyone with you, you can always get a tripod and say to them, hey, give me 1 second. You bring the tripod around the car or to the different sections of the car and then do it yourself while you're inside the car. So just something to keep in mind that you will need some other way of propping the phone up, whether it's with a friend. You could always buy a tripod on Amazon for like $20. They're pretty cheap. And it's a good thing to have because I feel like a lot of people film with their phone. I film all my YouTube videos with my iPhone in case you didn't know. Going down here now, this is true for both Uber and Lyft. Again, I don't know why Uber scrapes the surface when it comes to their specific app, but this is very important. Then when it comes to being an Uber driver and, of course, a Lyft driver, drivers are required to display the Lyft emblem while in driver mode. The Lyft emblem is a Lyft's official trade address. It helps passengers and law enforcement identify your vehicle. This is very important. I know sometimes some drivers are like, oh, do I really need this? Yes, you do. Yes, you do. It should be placed in the lower corner of your windshield on the passenger side every time you enter driver's mode. And right here, going down here, this is another big thing to keep in mind is the hour driverly limits. So in Alabama, and this is true for pretty much most of the country, Lyft has a standard time limit for driver mode. So when I go here, just to show you, this is really what it comes down to, that you must take a full uninterrupted 6-hour break for every 12 hours you're in driver mode. So basically what I say to most drivers is, for the most part, I mean, this is getting super crazy, you could drive maximum 12 hours a day. Now, there are 3 really important things I have to mention at the end of this video. 1, make sure you sign up for both Uber and Lyft. I know, some people are gung-ho on just Uber or just Lyft or whatever. Trust me, you're gonna make the most amount of money, and I'm assuming if you're watching this video, you wanna make money. Not only that, you wanna make more money. And the best way to do that is to sign up for both Uber and Lyft. You could do it, it's free to sign up for both, right? You can sign up for both. And some drivers drive for both at the same time, where you pull up both apps. When you get a good ride, you accept it, you kind of sign out of the other one, and you do this back and forth. Other drivers say, hey, you know what? I'm going to do Uber for a little bit and then check out Lyft. Because for me, when I first started driving, I only did Lyft. Then I went to Uber and I was like, wait a minute, Uber's paying more money. And then Uber's paying more money. And then at some point, I tried out Lyft, went back to Lyft because then Lyft was paying more money. In addition, each app, and this can be very random and kind of depends weekend to weekend or week to week, will have different bonuses and incentives. So maybe on one weekend, Uber says, hey, we're going to give you a certain amount of money if you do a certain amount of rides. And you're like, hey, you know what? As opposed to driving for Lyft this weekend, I'm going to do Uber. And it could be vice versa. Make sure you sign up with both apps. Second thing, get rideshare insurance. Now, rideshare insurance is not required by Uber or Lyft to drive for them. You do have to have auto insurance, so make sure you have insurance. I do have to say that. Rideshare insurance is something on top of that. And I do suggest to every driver out there, make sure you get it. Because I've had so many comments on this channel after I've talked about rideshare insurance of people saying, hey, Mark, I'm glad I listened to you. You know, I got rideshare insurance. I got into an accident when driving. My regular auto insurance didn't cover it because I was technically driving for Uber and Lyft, but the rideshare insurance did. Or I've had people be like, hey, you know what? I got into an accident. My regular auto insurance did not cover me because I was driving for Uber and they didn't want to cover me because I was technically driving for Uber. And now I'm in a ton of debt because I have to pay for lawyers or pay for the cost of everything and blah, 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 right? Get rideshare insurance on top of your auto insurance. Either A, your auto insurance might already have an extra policy just for being a rideshare driver, or B, you may have to go to a different auto insurance and almost have both. One just for general auto insurance and another one just for the rideshare insurance component. Lastly, what do you need in your car? So in addition to this, like there's no requirement of what you need in your car, but a lot of times drivers or potential drivers, I will say, okay, do I need anything else? One, you do not need really candy, snacks, gum, mints. I mean, there's a lot I know sometimes that people think they need in their car. I think back in the day, this is like almost a decade ago. Actually, yeah, about a decade ago, they did kind of stress to have like goodies in your car. Now that's not the case. No one really gets in an Uber expecting to have a Snickers bar, right? But there are a couple things I do suggest you pretty much have to have. One is the phone mount, right? I've seen some drivers, it still blows my mind, who do this thing when they hold the phone. It's like head bob, like chicken motion. Just get a phone mount. I mean, even if you don't drive for Uber and Lyft, I feel like everyone uses their GPS on their phone anyway. So make sure you have a phone mount. Secondly, a dash cam. This is big, very similar to insurance. Hopefully you never have to use it, but make sure you get a dash cam that records not only the outside, but the inside of your vehicle as well. There's even some three-way dash cams that record the front of your car, the back, and inside. Because as you all know, it is rare, but stuff can happen. Whether it's you being on the road and you might get into an accident, or let's say something happens with a passenger, or there's a dispute inside of your vehicle, the dash cam will have footage of not only what's happening, but also the audio recording as well. So it's there just in case. I highly suggest getting a dash cam. Lastly, gotta say, a phone charger. I think those are the main three you need. Like there's other things I can suggest, like napkins aren't a bad idea because sometimes people can spill stuff, or maybe having like Febreze in case someone smells, or like say someone brings food into the car, that can happen a lot. But for the most part, the big three I suggest in terms of in your car, in terms of like the big three, definitely a phone mount, dash cam, and a phone charger. Because not only for you, your phone's gonna probably die a lot quicker running these apps, running a GPS. If actually you're running Spotify or Pandora on your phone for music, you want to have that phone charger. In addition, I say the number one thing that people suggest or people ask for, let me say that way. And the one thing that I suggest that people ask for is gonna be a phone charger. It happens all the time where you're driving, someone gets in the car, they're like, hey, can I use your phone charger? And you can always unplug yours and hand it back or do that kind of move, but you could also get a second one. So there's some splitters you can get. We can get multiple like plugins. So you could get like, you know, a typical splitter with maybe like 2 or 3, maybe get a couple extra phone cords, maybe even one that has both the iPhone hookup and also the USB-C hookup or a micro USB. Basically, there's some that have like multi-ports that you can get. That's not a bad idea. That's the only thing that I'd say that you probably should get in terms of customer service, because a lot of times people do get in the car and ask for a phone charger. That's actually the number one requested thing. Besides that, you don't need gum, you don't need candy or mints or goodies. Just go with those main three and you're good to go.